Welcome to the final episode of our trilogy, The User's Guide to Unicorns by DK Engineering. And last but not least, the McLaren F1, possibly the greatest road car of all time, and equally the most famous and most recognised road car of the modern day. The future 250 GTO perhaps? Who knows, but time will tell. So onto this model and using it and getting to know it and understanding how it operates. So we'll start with the easy bit, opening the doors. Two very obvious push buttons on either side of the car, push to open, and it's as simple as that, very easy. You can use the ignition key to lock and unlock. This particular car has a remote locking function on the key itself, but some of them don't, but it's very straightforward. So inside the door shut of this side, which we'll call or refer to as the driver's side because this is the easier side for the driver to get into, but more on that later, there are two levers, one that says L and one that says E. We simply lift that one, so we'll lift the luggage one first, L for luggage, E for engine. So we lift the luggage one and the luggage pannier opens. And on this side, we've got the battery compartment and a space for luggage. Both sides have space for luggage, in fact. And on here, this is a great little thing, little quirk, that it has McLaren track record and it lists all the major accomplishments and achievements of McLaren over the years. And interestingly, even though this is a 1995 built car, it includes the 1997 Le Mans 24-hour GT winner, which is when the Longtail finished second overall, which they must have updated that sticker when this car was back at MSO once upon a time. But behind here, so we've got two little twist catches, you twist those, and the batteries behind here, along with all your relays and your fuses. There's the data connection for your modem. I'm not sure that any users these days will use that, but that's what that is there. And the modem switch is there as well. So if we fit that back into position. So this particular car has been equipped with a C-Tech modern trickle charger, which we couldn't recommend more highly. So simply connect up. Just poke that back in there because we've got to go across this rubber here and out the back. It will crush into, if you just let the wire pass through this gap between this seal here at the bottom, it'll let you shut the door and then you can leave it on charge, plug it in. Obviously the way a C-Tech normally works, this one has the label to show which car it's for so it doesn't get confused. So back in here. When you're not using it, we'll roll it up. Disconnect. And that can be kept in this pannier here. I'm going to leave that to one side for the minute. At the top of this side, there is a handy-held fire extinguisher. Hope no one ever needs to use that. And in the corner here you'll find a pull, and we can pull up and take out the floor. And in here we'll find some spare relays, spare fuses, and a first aid kit. So the floor fits back in like that. Final item that goes in here, the luggage. This side we tend to keep the suit bags. A lot of the luggage items and the books and bits and pieces in this perforated Alcantara strip will often feature the chassis number of the car they belong to, which hopefully is the car they're being put into. So on this side we tend to put the suit bags, and they just fit in like that. And it's also a good place for the trickle charger to live when it's not on charge. Moving around to the luggage pannier on the other side, we've got two slightly different bags for this side. Door operates in the same way. Again, two levers, one luggage, one engine compartment, pull L for luggage. The pannier opens, and here we are. So these two bags can go in here. Again, another removable floor. You take that out, and on this side simply, we've got the anodized red wheel nut socket. And up above, we've got the emergency triangle and a tyre foam canister, which I wouldn't recommend using, but it's there for good measure. So if we put the floor back in, then we've got these two bags. You've got to fit the one that goes closest to the front of the car in first, so you put it in the middle, slide it into the back and then to the right because the locking mechanism will stop it going in. And then the one for the rear of the car in second. Again, put the end in, get it down, and it will rotate round like that. There's actually a little bit of room left at the top for another soft bag. Now before we close this side, on this side you've got the dipstick and dry sump oil tank. And in these two little pockets here, you've got the bit of rag if you want to use it, although it might be nice to keep it as original, and a McLaren branded mechanic's glove, which fit in these two pockets here. When it comes to shutting the luggage panniers, it's very straightforward, but it's such a lightweight carbon panel. Look for where the catch is and push on the other side quite firmly until it clicks shut. So next we'll open the engine bay, so it can be opened from either side. We're on the right-hand side of the car now. Pull the lever that says E, and that opens the main engine cover. So we just slip our fingers in underneath the glass, and away it goes, it's open. And to open the rear section, just put your hand under here and lift, and that will reveal the exhaust and the all-important gold foil. Whilst we're in the engine bay, a couple of cool features. First of all, in this back corner of the engine bay, there's this F1 McLaren ID plate, which has got some important settings in case you're looking to do a bit of home maintenance. So it includes the firing order, tappet clearance from cold, ignition timing, spark plug type, spark plug gap, idle speed, and of course, idle mixtures. So just a nice thing there. And equally, there's a second ID plate for the chassis number, which sometimes is on the rear bulkhead, and on this particular car is found just in this corner down here, below the rear window, and can be found bonded onto the corner of the tub there. So to close these two, there's no locking mechanism when it's open, so you just drop that down into position, and then pull this down. Remember, the catch is here, so push on the middle at the back here, and that's closed. Right, onto the interior, but before we do that, opening the front. So to open the front compartment, underneath the steering column on the left-hand side of the car, there's this pull tag. Pull that, and it opens the front. So the front boot, so to speak, opens from the top, so hinges from the bottom. So under the front here, you'll find a few important things, including your screen washer filling point, clutch fluid reservoir, brake fluid reservoir, front and rear, CD changer, toolkit, towing eye, and all important tyre pressure information for above 250 kilometers an hour and below. The toolkit's pretty cool, super, super lightweight, and really special in its own right. So the towing eye, if you need to use it, unscrews from under the front here, and then fits in underneath the nose. It just screws in like that. And always remember to remove it once it's been in there. Just before we get in the car, there's this little key on the key ring, which is for the fuel filler, very much like a racing car. Put the key in, turn it to unlock it, flick the flick up, twist and remove, put the fuel in, and then in reverse to close it and lock it. Right, next up, the all-important getting in. So we open the door, and I think the best way to do this is in a two-stage. So one thing to make sure of is that you don't have anything in your back pockets, and then you simply sit on the corner of this passenger seat, put one leg over into the driver's footwell, put a hand here just behind your back, other foot across, then grab the side bolster of the seat. Be careful not to catch the bolster that you're going to go across, and lift yourself across and slide in. Especially with this car that's got all Alcantara interior, just really important not to catch that edge when you slide yourself across. I'm forever seeing people getting into an F1 for the first time and not knowing how to close the door. But it's very easy. There's a handle on each side, and you just go straight up, find the handle, and pull it down. Also on the flip side, you see people struggling to work out how to open the door. It's very easy. The lever's right here, just on the corner of each seat, and you pull it like that, and the door will open. So if I pull this one, give the door a little push, and it opens. And grab it, and pull it down, make sure not to slam it, and it will close. And another trick, make sure you never ever close a McLaren F1 door with the window open. It should always be closed when the door's open or closed. Onto the controls. So we grab the ignition key, and on the right hand side of the sill, you'll find the ignition barrel. Turn it in, twist it clockwise, and there we are. The start button's under this little fighter pilot-esque switch cover. Lift that up, push the clutch down, press the red button, and we're going. So for the rest of the controls, it's quite straightforward. But the two little tricky things are handbrake, which is a fly-off handbrake, much like a 50s or 60s Ferrari, where you pull it up to where you want to, and then the lever will disappear. So it's quite easy to pull away, not realising you've got the handbrake on. So just pull it up. If it freely goes up, then that means it's on. So if you want to take it off, you just pull it back towards you, press the button in at the same time, keep holding the button and let it down, and that's the handbrake off. For reverse, it's got a little lockout function, which is this switch on the right-hand side behind the gear lever. You need to pull that back, and then that will let you go all the way to the left and forwards to select reverse. And when you're in forward gears, just make sure you flick that forwards again so that you can't go from third to second to reverse instead of first or something like that. Then for the other controls, the stereo controls are here on the left-hand side with volume, selector of the CD player or which CD you want, bass treble controls, etc., etc. The instruction manual's super useful for that, so it's all quite straightforward. And when you're using the stereo, all the information will be on that general display LED readout, which is on the bottom right below the speedo. You've got the operation for the left-hand window up and down here. Moving over to the right-hand side, you've got operation for the right-hand window up and down. You've got the control for the aircon, which is just simply temperature and fan speed, 0 to 4. You've also got your automatic electric mirror adjustments left and right here. That's very straightforward. And then a recirc button for the air conditioning. You've got central locking, lock and unlock, and then an interior light switch. So that's everything here. Obviously the gear lever is an H pattern box, forwards and left for first, back for second, and it's got 6 gears. If you let it centralize itself, that's third and fourth, and to the right and forwards is 5th, and back is 6th. Moving to the steering wheel area, it actually has some paddles, which not many people realize, and the left-hand paddle is your flash function, and the right-hand paddle is your horn. Then on the stalks, you've got your indicator, left and right, with flash or dip and main beam. So the flash is on the steering wheel, but dip and main beam is on this one here. And then on the right-hand stalk, you've got windscreen wipers, which work much like any normal car. On the right-hand side of the gauges, you've got the headlights. So the top knob here is 0 to side lights to headlights on. You've got your hazard lights, which is a push-in switch. And then here you've got the speed of your automatic windscreen wipers when you're in the intermittent function. On the left-hand side, you've got push-in for the rear fog. You've got the heated screen or the screen demist functions. So 3 settings there. And then at the top here for the rear aerofoil, you can have the different settings that when you're sitting in the driver's seat, you can see it going up and down and leave it on automatic or leave it always up or whatever you would like. Then for the gauges, it's quite straightforward. Big rev counter that goes all the way to 8,000 in front of you. Huge speedo that looks like it's not working when you're at normal speeds because it goes all the way to 400 kilometers an hour. And then on the left-hand side, you've got your oil temperature, fuel level, and of course, water temperature. Finally, at the bottom of the dash, you've got these 2 screens. So if I turn the ignition on again, the left-hand one is your trip and your total mileage. So the right-hand screen is generally your general information. So at the moment, it says left-hand door open. But underneath, it's got 3 buttons. The left-hand one is the backlight intensity adjustment. The middle one is a clock adjustment for hours, and the right-hand one for minutes. And then that's it. That's the interior of the car. You've got your sun visor here. You've got your 2 rear view mirrors because of course you're in the middle and you've got the solid bulkhead behind you. And you're ready to go. As much as getting in's a bit of an art, so's getting out. But it's very similar. But this time, left hand on the base of the passenger seat, move 1 foot over and literally step up and step out. Easy as that. So as the final part of this film is the very famous tool chest that comes with a McLaren F1. The question everyone always asks, where's the tool chest? So it's a Facom set with spanners of all different shapes and sizes, pliers, Allen keys, drawers of sockets, modem, not sure anyone would know how to use that today, and a few other bits and pieces that might be useful, as well as the torque wrench on the end here so that you can set the wheels to the right torque settings. Each McLaren F1 should come with this leather case, which again has the chassis number embossed on the top. It's got the service books in here, which mostly aren't necessarily filled out, but have a lot of information with regards to doing different bits and pieces to the car yourself. And then this lovely owner's manual, which the front of is completed by Gordon Murray in period, with the engine number, the gearbox number, all the different colours and settings, where the pedal position is, clutch, footrest, etc., etc. And in here, it's a great read. It's got all the different instructions, the different various bits and pieces, most of which we've been through just now, but all of them beautifully illustrated by hand, as was a signature for this, including another getting in and out demonstration. So that's that. That's our brief user's guide to the McLaren F1. We hope that there were some tips and things that you didn't know about before with regards to one of these cars, and if ever you come close to one, make sure you take a really close look at all those fine little details that really set the F1 ahead of the other GT1 cars of the era. We hope you've enjoyed the series, and we look forward to some more.